What is the retribution for abandoning pets? The Buddha used only one sentence. The 6 paths of reincarnation, cause and effect. Outside the misty Chang'an city, Han Dynasty teenager Domer squatted under an old locust tree, holding a drenched puppy in his hand. This puppy was just fished out of the moat, dying. Domer revealed a childlike smile. He doesn't know this seemingly kind act. It will trigger a period of the karmic destiny across the 6 realms of reincarnation. The Buddhist scriptures say that all beings are equal. All have Buddha nature. However, when the fates between humans and animals are entangled, karma is like a spider web. A little careless, you will fall into the sea of samsara. Domer's story. It is in this cycle of causality. The most shocking part. Don't be afraid of 16-year-old Domer. Carefully. Wipe the water stains on the puppy with your sleeve. You will follow me from now on. This is the winter of the 4th year of Jianyuan. Emperor Wu of Han has just promoted Tian Enling. North Korea and China's political undercurrent. But these are the same as being an ordinary carpenter. It doesn't matter if you're an apprentice. He only knew that he had saved a small life. And it brought him infinite satisfaction. Moved to name the puppy Fel, because he believes this dog will bring him good luck. Fel actually changed his life. This Tan puppy is smart. Not only can you retrieve the wooden stick thrown by Donger, and when he's in a bad mood, rubbing his legs and making a whining sound to comfort him. Master, you see that photo is smart. Dong showed off to his master carpenter. Yesterday I asked him to help me carve tools. He actually knew which one was the sentence. The white-haired old carpenter shook his head. Foreign pets are to be bothered. You are still young. Can afford. But what about the future? Delmer disagrees. Master, don't worry. I will definitely take good care of Four for the rest of my life. 3 years in the blink of an eye. In the past, Four was born from a thin puppy, grown into a strong perfection. And Dunger has also been promoted from an apprentice to an independent carpenter. Start taking some small jobs to support the household. Every time he goes out to work, Fel always faithfully guards the door, waiting for the master to return. However, the turning point of fate came when Dong was 19 years old. Come quietly. Dong has a big opportunity. A friend who is also a carpenter said mysteriously. Tapu Temple needs craftsmen to go west with the convoy. Repair of old horses and vehicles. It's been 3 years. But when you come back, you can get official certification from the court. I was excited. Official certification means higher status and income. This is the kind of opportunity that the average carpenter could only dream of, but he thought of Buddha. I have a dog to take care of at home. Ganfu patted him on the shoulder. Only 3 years. Let your mother take care of it. Or just give it away. For piety. What is this little thing? On the way home, The child is preoccupied. When he opened the door, Vol greeted him as cheerfully as usual. Rub his hand with his wet nose. Dalna crouches down, rubbing the Buddha's head. I feel guilty in my heart, sorry. Fuo, I may have to leave for a while. The days that follow, and Delmer started looking for people to adopt Buddha. He first asked the neighbors. I found a few more real-world friends who used to like my husband, but they all declined. Keeping dogs is not food. Delmer is no better than in previous years. Food prices have risen a lot. The elderly at home don't like dogs. Always say it's not clean. My child is small. Fear of dog bites. All kinds of reasons follow. Donger gradually feels despair. Day by day. The day of departure is imminent. Last night, Delmer hugged Fu and whispered Fur, You're a good dog, but I really can't take you away. Mother is too old to take care of you. Fur seemed to feel the master's sadness. Licking Delmer's hand, eyes full of trust and dependence. Busy day. Delmer with Fur. Come to a forest outside Chang'an City. He took the prepared jerky from his arms. Put it in front of Fu. Fur, eat it. Delmer's voice choked up. Fur happily eats jerky. We had no idea what was going to happen. Delmer took the opportunity to untie the rope tied to the Buddha. Walk away quickly. Fur finished the jerky. I looked up and found that the owner had gone far. Immediately caught up. Delmer quickens his pace. Fell is close behind. He suddenly turned around and yelled, Get out of the way! Don't follow me! Vol stopped, watching in confusion. A master who had never been so cruel to him. Delmer picked up the stones on the ground, throw it in the direction of the Buddha, but deliberately missed him. Rolfur takes a few steps back. Eyes full of puzzlement and sadness. Delmer felt his heart cut like a knife, but he knew he had to. He continued to throw stones at Fur, until Fur finally turned around. He ran into the woods with his tail between his legs. When the figure of the Buddha disappears from sight, move and finally collapse, kneeling on the ground and crying. But he quickly wiped away his tears and stood up. The westbound team won't wait for him. Fel, I'm sorry. May you find a better master than me. Delmer took one last look at the woods. The years to the west are long and hard. Move and follow the motorcade across the desert, over the mountains, repairing damaged vehicles along the way, and a temporary horse. During this time, he learned many new memories. I also met a lot of talented people from all over the world. 3 years later, when the team returned to Chang'an, Delmer has gone from a young carpenter, grow into a craftsman with excellent memory. The first day back in Chang'an, Delmer couldn't help but go to the woods where the Buddha was abandoned. It's micro, but the guilt inside made him have to see it. The woods have changed. Cutting and newborn ant changed Nduyxintrai's memory. He wandered through the woods, calling the Buddha's name. Except for the birds and the wind. No response. The days that follow, Nduyxinhtrai relies on the certification of the imperial court, opened a small carpentry shop. Business is booming. He also married a wife, gave birth to 2 children. Ostensibly, his life was back on track. But in the dead of night, Val's eyes always appear in his dreams. Dad, I want to get a puppy. One day, Nduyxintrai's eldest son said timidly. Nduyxintrai's body froze. Then firmly shake your head. Owning a dog is too much trouble. It's not hygienic. But the Wang family next door also kept one. I said no. Nduyxintrai suddenly raised his voice, scared the child to take a few steps back. Seeing the expression of my son's Peking opera, regret. Squat down and hug the child. Sorry. Daddy didn't mean to be mean to you. It's just that raising a dog is really not easy. As the years go by, Nduyxintrai's carpentry shop is becoming more and more famous. It was even received for some small and medium-sized officials, ordered to make furniture. At the age of 40, he received the largest order of his life, making a full set of furniture for the new Taipu King's Fode. Master Dong, your craftsmanship is the best in Chang'an City. The butler of the imperial servant said. Lord Taipa specially explained. Be sure to ask you to do it yourself. This is the opportunity that Nduyxintrai dreams of. Successfully completed this order. Will build his woodworking reputation. And then one day before he was due to start work, an unexpected visitor came to his score. That's a guy who looks like 70-year-old monk. White hair. But the spirit never says. He's holding a staff, standing quietly at the door of the carpentry shop, staring at Nduyxintrai calmly. The donor is Nduyxintrai. The old monk's voice was deep and powerful. Nduyxintrai put down the chisel in his hand, nod in confusion. I don't know what advice the master has. The old monk smiled slightly, and the poor monk went to this point. I heard that the benefactor Miyi was shocked, specially seeking relics. Master, please say. Although there are some doubts, but Nduyxintrai is out of family. Still maintain due respect. The poor monk needs a meditation chair. For Zen. Don't ask for flamboyance, but ask him to be stable. Nduyxintrai's brief thinking master. The store has a lot of orders recently. I'm afraid it will take 10 days to complete. The old monk said calmly that there is no hurry. The poor monk stayed in the city for a few days. 7 days later, when you take your bowel movement, after saying that, the old monk took out a few copper coins from the show. Put it on the table. A little gift is no respect. Move and quickly refuse. How can the master use his family? Value for money. Cause and effect. The old monk persisted until Don't let this poor monk owe British government bonds. See refusal. Delver had to accept it. Just as the old monk turned to leave, he suddenly turned around, said a meaningful sentence. Did the donor ever have a pet? Delver's heart suddenly trembled. It's like being seen through. But he tried to keep his cool. He had a dog when he was a kid. The old monk nodded and said, abandoned pets have 6 cycles of cause and effect. Donor, remember. After saying this inexplicable words, the old monk fluttered away, leaving Donor full of doubts. I couldn't sleep that night. The old monk's words are like a stone, heavy pressure on his heart. Over the years, the memories he tried to bury came flooding in. For those eyes full of confusion and sadness. The next few days, move while preparing furniture for the imperial servant, while taking the time to make the old monk's then chair. Strange thing is, every time he works late into the night, I always hear the whimpering of dogs outside the door. At first he thought it was a nearby wild dog. But when he went out to check, he found nothing. The third night, Donnie had a dream. In his dream, he went back more than 20 years ago, the woods where the Buddha was abandoned. Fog in the woods. He saw the Buddha being searched by the ancient forest not far away. All over. Val saw him but dared not approach, just looking at him pitifully, eyes full of longing and despair. For I'm sorry. Delver cries in a dream. But Four gradually turned into a small figure, then disappear into the fog. Delver suddenly woke up from his dream. A full moon hangs outside the window. The cold moonlight shines on his workbench. He got up and went to the window and looked at the moon. Mixed flavors in my heart. There are 6 ways of reincarnation, cause and effect for the Buddha to abandon pets. The old monk's words echoed in my ears again. On the 7th day, the old monk arrived as promised. Delver weighs the elaborate Zen meaning. Although the chair is notation, but the workmanship is fine. Every detail shows the craftsman's care. The old monk circled the chair. Not in satisfaction. A good chair is both stable and comfortable. The donor really lives up to his reputation. Master, thank you. Donor is a little shy, then gather up the courage and ask the master. What you said last time about the cause and effect of Keong pets. What do you mean? The old monk glanced at him. Seems to have expected him to have this question. Donors know that all beings have spirituality. Humans and animals may have different forms, but Buddha nature is the same. When you connect with a life form. Cause and effect. Kind treatment leads to good karma. Abandon it and get a bad relationship. A voice in Delmer's heart trembled a little. So what is the karma of itching? The old monk pondered for a moment. slowly to the afterlife of the abandoned person or fall into the animal realm. Experience the pain of being abandoned or reincarnated as a person, but it has many lives. Family separation. It's a causal cycle. Not happy at all. Here. Moving again. I can't stop myself from kneeling on the ground and crying. Master, I did abandon a dog when I was young. His name is Fu, and I grew up with him. For the future. My old monk reached out and helped donor over. So if the donor feels guilty, take it up now. Donor raised his head, eyes shining with hope. Is it really too late? Sincere heart leads to spirit. If the benefactor can do good deeds within 7 days, he will be humble. Its animals do good deeds to their wives, may mitigate cause and effect. The old monk said. Don't be perfunctory. I see. Not again and again. I will do it. The old monk carried the meditation chair. Say meaningfully before leaving. Good and evil will be rewarded in the end. It's just too late. Donors remember that cause and effect are not false. Since that day, Donor's life has undergone a tremendous transformation. He began to pay attention to the stray animals in the streets and alleys. Bring food with you to feed them. He even took out his savings, rented a small plot of land outside the city, built a humble shelter, taken homeless dogs. However, there was always a question in his heart. What happened to Fu? Did he die alone in those woods? Or adopted by kind people? This unanswered mystery is like a thorn deep in his heart. Donor doesn't know the gears of fate are turning in the dark. A reunion across the 6 realms of reincarnation is about to take place. Early morning on the 8th day, Donor is about to open for business. Suddenly I heard someone knocking on the door. Open the door. He saw a boy with blue strands on the mountain. Just stand there. About 13 or 14 years old, his face is haggard but his eyes are clear. Do you need help? The young concubine asked. I can do anything. Don't pick the east, I'm about to decline. Suddenly noticed the boy's eyes. Those eyes made him feel inexplicably familiar. As if I had seen you somewhere. What's your name? What about the beautiful woman? Donor asked softly. My name is Leifu. No beauty. The boy bowed his head and answered, adopted from an early age. My stepmother kicked me out. Come and stroke this name, which shocked Donor's heart. He looked into the boy's eyes again. The familiarity is even stronger. Please come in. I could use a little help. Donor turned sideways to let the boy enter the door. Eat something first. Then I teach you some basic carpentry skills. Leifu nodded gratefully. Follow Donor into the store. Donor brought him hot porridge and steamed buns. Watching the teenager devour, An inexplicable connection came to mind. Eat slowly, don't choke. Delmer handed him a bowl of water. Don't worry about running out of food in the future. Lei Fu looked up, eyes twinkling with tears. Thank you. You're the nicest person I've ever met. Delmer's heart was moved by this sentence. He unconsciously reached out and touched the boy's head. This action, it reminded him of the time when he had touched the rod. Eclipse feeling. The days that follow. Delmer teaches Lei Fu woodworking skills while continuing to take care of stray animals. To his surprise, Lei Fu has an unusual affinity for animals. Those stray dogs who are usually vigilant become docile in front of him. Take the initiative to get close to him. Strange that this dog can't even get close to me. Delmer looks at a big yellow dog lie down obediently at the feet of Lei Fu, puzzled. Lei Fu smiled. Maybe it's because I can understand how they feel. I'm familiar with this feeling. I heard that. A dull pain in my heart. He became more and more convinced the encounter with Lei Fu was no accident. That night, Delmer dreamed of the old monk reappearing, sitting in a Zen chair he made by hand, smiling and saying sincerity is spiritual, cause and effect. Delmer woke up from a dream. The moonlight shines on the ground like water. He got up and went to Riff's hut. Opened the door gently. I saw the boy swimming in the water quietly. Under the moonlight, Lei Fu's face looks particularly pure. Delmer suddenly had a strong feeling. Lei Fu is the reincarnation of Fu. Tao reincarnation cause and effect, murmuring to himself. And the next day, Delmer decided to bring the surface area and discard it that year. Look at the woods of Buddha. Years passed. The woods have become thicker. But Delmer can still vaguely recognize the path of the year. Master, what are we doing here? Lei Fu asked curiously. Move your ears and take a deep breath. I want to tell you a story. A story about my youth. On a large rock deep in the woods, Delmer will abandon the Buddha that year. Tell Lei Fu one by one. The boy listened quietly. Surprise flashed in his eyes, sometimes expressing sadness. Master, did you contact Forma later? Lei Fu asked. Delmer shook his head. I came back 3 years later to find it, but didn't find him. I've been feeling guilty for years. I don't know what happened to him in the end. Suddenly, in fact, I often dreamed of it when I was a child. Himself is a dog, abandoned by his master in the forest. In my dreams, I kept looking for my master, but can't find it. And I was adopted by a hunter. But he was mean to me. Hit me often and don't give me enough to eat. I was shocked. He stared at Lei Fu with wide eyes. Lei Fu continued to say later. He took care of me until I died. I remember my last thought before I died. I hope to find the original in my next life. Abandon my master. Ask him why. Speaking of which, Leifu's eyes are full of Ter's master. Do you think this is not just a dream? Could it be the memory of my past life? Dongber can no longer control himself. Hold the future blessing in your arms. Tears rain down. Leifu sorry. If you are really Fuer, please forgive my selfishness and cowardice. Leifu also hugged Dongber tightly. The two embraced each other in the forest. It's like a reunion across the cycle of life and death. Just then, a breeze blows through the treetops. The leaves rustle. Like a whisper. Dongber looks up. In a trance, I saw the old monk standing not far away. Kindly smile. The old monk has disappeared, leaving only mottled sunlight. From that day on, Dongber officially adopted Leifu as a son. Teach everything you've learned in your life. Leifu is talented and intelligent, quickly master the essentials of carpentry, and in some ways, show talent beyond the master. However, life is not always smooth sailing. When Leifu was 17 years old, a plague broke out in Chang'an City. Many people fall ill within a short period of time, including Dongber's wife and young son. During those difficult days, Leifu takes care of the Dongber family day and night, sleepless. Come to Buddha, you can rest too. Don't tire yourself out. Dongber said distressed. Leifu shook his head, Master. You saved me back then and gave me a voice. Now it's my turn to take care of you. This moment, Dongber suddenly understood what a causal cycle is. He once abandoned the Buddha, the reincarnation of the Buddha. He came to Buddha when he needed it most. Protect him unconditionally. After the plague, although Dongber's wife and young son survived, life but physique is not as good as before. To work harder. Help Dongber support the entire family. Master, do you know? One day, Leifu carved an exquisite wooden box on the side, while saying, I think. Every piece of wood has its own life and soul. The carpenter's job is not to create, it's discovery and release. Dongber looked at the focused side face of the land. My heart is full of relief and pride to caress. The truth of your enlightenment than I've ever learned in my life. Leifu smiled shyly. This is all taught by the master. As time goes by, Dongber, who is nearly 60 years old, start putting most of the things in the carpentry shop. Leave it to Lift to take care of, under the management of Leifu. Their business is booming. Even invited to the palace, they made some beautiful pieces of furniture. But at the height of his career, doom strikes again. A sudden fire burned down half of Chang'an City. Dongber's carpentry shop was not spared either. After years of hard work, Dongber stands in front of the ruins. I was at a loss. Master, don't worry. We can rebuild. Lei Fu said firmly, as long as people are there. With the encouragement and support of Lei Fu, Delmer perks up again. They rented a small shop on the other side of town. Start with the most basic tools. Back to business little by little. During reconstruction, Delmer noticed Lei Fu often goes out alone in the dead of night. Out of curiosity, he quietly followed once. I found that Lei Fu was in a hidden courtyard. Took in more than a dozen stray dogs. Take good care of them. I've been doing this all these years after I was discovered. Lei Fu is embarrassed to admit. I know how hard it feels to be left behind. Don't want other animals to go through this pain. A sore nose. Hug Lei Fu tightly. Good boy, your heart is much purer than mine. Since then, Delmer also joined in the good deeds of Lei Fu. Together, they care for these homeless animals. Their behavior gradually spread. More and more people are being moved. Start to imitate. At the age of 70, Delmer decided to retire to the mountains. He officially handed over the carpentry shop to Lei Fu. Himself, he built a hut at the foot of the mountain outside the city. With a few faithful old dogs, Master. You really decided? Lei Fu asked reluctantly. Delmer nodded. I've been through so much in my life. It's time to be quiet and think. Besides, you are in Chang'an. Zhao Ying, I'm very relieved. Before parting, Lei Fu gave Delmer an exquisite wooden box. Open it up. Inside is a lifelike wood-carving puppy. The form resembles the Buddha of the past. Master, wherever you go, Fowler will be with you. Lei Fu said there were tears in his eyes. Donald, clutching the wood carvings, choked Lei Fu. Thank you for forgiving me. Gave me a chance to atone for my sins. The life of Chrysanthemum is calm and fulfilling. Every morning, Delmer would meditate in the open space in front of the hut. Meditate to reflect on your life. He often remembered the words of the old monk. Abandoned pets have 6 cycles of cause and effect. Now, he finally understood the meaning of this sentence. Winter. Heavy snow closures mountains. 72-year-old Delmer sits by the fire. Petting the old dog by my side. Suddenly felt a palpitations. He knew his time was running out. Go and call Lei Fu. Delmer said to the wisest old dog. The old dog seemed to understand. Run out of the hut immediately. Disappeared into the snow. 3 days later, Lei Fu finally arrived. I saw the haggard face of the master. His heart was cut like a knife. Master, I will take you back to Chang'an. Please hire the best doctor. Delmer smiled slightly and shook his head. No need. My time is up. Lei Fu can meet you again in this life. Is my greatest blessing. Lei Fu knelt before the bed in tears. Master Donger reached out and stroked Lei Fu's head. just like touching the Buddha many years ago. Remember the cycle of life and death. I will find you when I come. As if you were looking for me in this life. Finish this sentence. Dongger closed her eyes. With a peaceful smile on the corner of his mouth, died peacefully. Lei Fu inherited Dongger's legacy. Not only will the carpentry shop operate more, prosperity is still in Chang'an City. Established the first official animal shelter. Name the waiter. Specializing in taking in abandoned pets. After many years, he's already over 100 years old. In Fuyuanyuan, adopted a puppy that closely resembled Fu. Looking at the happy figure of the puppy, he whispered, "Master, are you back?" The dog seemed to understand him. I fell into his arms, intimately licking his hand. Lei Fu's eyes twinkled with tears. I will always be with you, until the end of life. Buddhism has clouds, all dharmas are empty. Cause and effect are not empty, east and fall. Lei Fu's story. It is this vivid confirmation of the cycle of causality. From abandonment to reunion. From guilt to redemption. Across life and death, cycle. In a corner of Chang'an City. And there's a story about that. If someone abandons their pet, will surely suffer the same pain in the 6 rounds of reincarnation. And those who truly repent and make amends, there is a chance in the afterlife. Work together to complete a redemption that spans time and space.